Shelves and soaring prices, a couple of familiar sights if you've been inside a grocery store lately as consumers continue to get squeezed by inflation. We've seen this with meats and bread, and now, Paul, you have more on what's being dubbed eggflation.
Yeah, we all see this. I don't know about you, but every time I go to the store, I see the price of eggs. I'm almost saying out loud, what happened? You can see every time you go to the store yourself, you know what the deal is. These are just a couple of the pictures that we took at a local Publix. $5.79 for a dozen eggs. And then if you go to 18 eggs, you're talking about $8.50 for that. Wholesale prices, not much better. Right now, the average price for a dozen eggs, $4.33 on the wholesale side. A massive increase, by the way, from a year ago when we saw the average cost was just $1.33. Now, this is where businesses are really starting to feel the impact of these rising costs. So to help give us the full picture tonight, Lydia Vasquez is going in depth, speaking with business owners whose livelihoods really do depend on the cost of eggs and finding out when we could potentially start to see some relief at the cash register.
You've probably seen how much a dozen eggs cost at the store and thought, maybe I don't need eggs right now. Well, imagine needing to buy it in bulk every day.
The egg crisis is the worst from everything. It's the worst that we've ever been.
Jennifer Franks is the owner of Delicious Cupcakes in Newport Richey. She tells me these skyrocketing egg prices forced her to lay off half her staff.
The cost of the eggs and the butter pays a person's staff. That's how much that the eggs and the butter have gone up.
Franks is pivoting, working double shifts with little to no profit, upping prices by $1, even closing early when goods run low.
It's very scary. It's the first time in 13 years we've had these thoughts of, I don't know if we're gonna make it through this, because if eggs get up to $10 a dozen and I use eggs and butter on an everyday basis, what am I supposed to do?
The USDA says nearly 58 million birds have been infected with avian flu as of this month, making it the deadliest outbreak in U.S. history. And while one economist we sat down with says avian flu is a problem, he doesn't think these price hikes are a direct result of supply chain issues, but instead big market egg producers upping their prices because, well, they can.
$6 a dozen, that's high. I mean, that's high by anybody's standards. I don't think they'll stay that high. But if you think back to what it was before we had this price increase, a dozen eggs was a couple bucks. So my guess is it's probably going to end up somewhere between $2 and $6.
Stores Dunklin runs Bud's Yard Eggs out of his backyard in Hudson. He sells a dozen chicken eggs for $4, a hot ticket item that he now can't keep up with.
It has pretty much gone out of control. Our egg, we were selling anywhere from 3 to 4 dozen a day, and now we have a commitment for 20 dozen a day.
Dunklin is adding more animals to his roster to help families and local businesses in need of eggs.
What we're going to do to try to help the situation is to try to get more chickens, and we're going to try to maintain our price as low as we can.
As for Franks, she's hopeful egg prices will drop, allowing her to keep her family business afloat. But for now, she's asking for a little compassion and maybe even a donation.
If you're a Girl Scout troop, if you're a family who wants to do something for someone, go buy a couple dozen eggs and surprise a local baker with them. They are going to be over the moon ecstatic.
In Newport Richey, Lydia Vasquez, ABC Action News.